Hey everybody, I'm Justin with AmericanMuscle.com, and this is going to be my detailed review and install of the Roush Cat-Back Exhaust System available for your 2015 and newer 5-liter powered F-150. This review is going to cover the big 3 topics you all want to hear about when shopping for an aftermarket system for your ride. We're going to talk about the sound profile you can expect when bolting up the Roush. We're even going to cover the materials and construction, and finally we'll give you a quick little walkthrough of the install itself. And because the Roush is designed to fit all cab and bed size F-150s, there is some slight modification needed depending on your wheelbase, but I will have a little bit more detail on that later on. Either way, figure a strong 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter. So the Roush systems are usually one of the most popular in the category for both the Mustang and F-150 alike, and the Roush system that we have here is going to be no different and should appeal to the truck owners out there looking for a nice increase in sound with that Coyote power plant, in addition to a little bit more increase in sound as well inside the cab. And finally, this is going to appeal to the truck owners out there who are looking for a top-notch quality build and fitment. And since this is an exhaust video after all, let's cut right to the chase and talk about what kind of sound you can expect when bolting this thing up to your rig. And honestly, as I just pointed out, this is going to be a very aggressive system. Probably one of the most aggressive I've heard for the 5-liter powered trucks. Not quite as loud as the Borla Attack or the Flowmaster Outlaw, but it is certainly going to get you noticed. So I'm going to go strong 4 out of 5 here on my 1 to 5 or 1 to wake a neighbor scale. You do pick up a little bit of interior noise, as I pointed out earlier, but it's nothing that's going to be overpowering or obnoxious. And while we're talking about tone and sound and all that good stuff, I do want to point out that in my opinion, I think the Roush has very good street manners. And what I mean by that is here, guys, is that yes, this thing is going to be loud when you're stomping on it, but at the same time, when you're just cruising around town or on the highway, you can barely even tell it's on there. And that's something that's not always easy to get out of the more aggressive systems, and it's something that Roush does very well with this Cat-Back. Another area this exhaust excels in is the build and the fitment, of course, but that's really not too shocking here. This is Roush after all, and they usually excel in this department. I've toured the facilities, I've seen how they do business, and their level of detail in production and quality is just on a completely different level altogether. And that really does come through with their final products here, including this Cat-Back. You're looking at a premium 304 grade stainless steel construction throughout, including the 3-inch mandrel bent tubing here, straight through by design muffler from Roush, the included Y-pipe, and then finally you got the 2 4-inch tips here, slash cut, rolled edge, also 304 grade stainless steel, and they have also been embossed with that Roush logo. Now these things have actually been chrome flashed. This is a process that Roush claims increases the durability, the longevity of that finish over the years, and I really like how these things look when installed. Basically, this staggered tip design here is going to exit in the stock location right behind that passenger side rear tire, but it does help give the truck a more modified look. And before we get into the install, I do want to quickly mention price, and in my opinion, I think the Roush system is going to be one of the better values on the site when it comes to grabbing an aftermarket system that will deliver top quality materials, but for south of the $1,000 price point. Now this puts it right in line with some of the Stainless Works options here on the site, but still a good amount less than some of the heavy hitters in the category, such as Corsa or Borla, for instance. And let's get into the install as promised earlier in the video. And as I mentioned in this video earlier on, there may be some slight modification necessary to this system, basically the lead pipe here, depending on your cab and bed size. This really isn't a hard modification as long as you take your time, follow Roush's very detailed instructions, measure twice and cut once using a nice tool. I prefer a Sawzall and a fresh metal blade, and you really should be good to go. So I'm saying 1 out of 3 wrenches here on the difficulty meter, despite the small amount of cutting needed, because again, it is very simple. Anyone should be able to do it in the garage or driveway, and maybe an hour or 2 from start to finish to get this thing in place. As far as tools, well, besides that cutting tool we just talked about, you're really only looking at a basic socket set here to help you get this thing in place, along with a hanger removal tool. If you don't have one of those, don't worry. Basic flathead or a pry bar will help you out just fine there as well. Now, in addition to that, I always like to use just a little WD-40 or PB Blast on those exhaust hangers. Basically, the rubber grommet part just makes removal much easier. When it comes time to actually start turning some wrenches, guys, you'll simply just need to get that factory system out of the way first before you can get to work installing the new Roush system. Fair warning, that factory Cat-Back can be a little big and a little bulky, so if you have an extra set of hands, now would be a great time to use them. Once that is out of the way, you can get to work installing the Roush here. I recommend starting from front to back. Get the entire system hung first before your final tighten up, and you should be good to go. Personally, I've always enjoyed the Roush systems on a number of different platforms, and that certainly doesn't change here with their Coyote offering for the newer F-150. So if you're a fan of the more aggressive systems, you're looking for plenty of bark out of that 5-liter truck, I really think you're going to enjoy the Roush Cat-Back, and you can get one right here at AmericanMuscle.com.